Emily Sunday, welcome to Plan B. It's so cool to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now tell me, how does a clinical neuroscience student end up dominating the music industry and even breaking records set by the Beatles?
It was, a very unusual journey. It was really just following gut instinct and what I wanted to do. I didn't have any really ambitions to go and do what happened. I just really wanted to make music I loved and that I could be as honest as I could be. So I'm very happy. The past 2 years have been really good fun, and I'm glad that I took the risk to leave med school.
What made you go at that point? You know what, I have my degree, I've done that part of my life, now I'm going to try this part.
I think it was just the circumstance. It was a point in my life that really felt like a crossroads. I'd been in London, I'd met a producer that I really worked well with, Naughty Boy, and I had my first song in the charts, I was published. It felt like, well, if I'm not going to do it now, this is my window, so let me just go and appreciate it and do it. So it really just felt like a very obvious, you're going to be a doctor or a musician, and I knew I wanted to be a musician.
What I love about you is it is all about the music. How have you managed to avoid the world of paparazzi and celebrity in general?
I guess, just not courting it. It's,
Simple as that.
I think so. I just think that whatever you want, whatever you really desire, if you want it that bad, it will come. And some people just really want to be famous, and some people want or need that attention. Whereas for me, I just, that feeling of writing that song and that spark, and when I'm in the studio with Naughty Boy, or just that magic is what I live for. So any other distraction to that, I'm not really that interested.
One of the things about being successful, especially in this industry, means that you have to leave your home so often and miss people's birthdays, miss just going down to the local with your mates. Yeah. How do you deal with that?
That's the difficult part of it, because, I have so many incredible friends who have supported me from the very beginning, and they're still in Glasgow, or some are in London, most are doctors or something, saving lives every day. So everyone's, all my friends were just very ambitious and very passionate. So we're all happy for one another. But it's sad, my sister, my family, whenever I'm back, I just try and spend as much time with the people I love as possible.
I love the advice Alicia Keys gave you about your personal life. What did Alicia Keys say to you?
Well, one of the first things she said was, schedule time for people. It might sound a bit clinical, but you do have to put in the diary, this time is for my husband, or this time is for my friends. And that kind of resonated with me, because before I would just say, well, when I have the time, I'll have the time, but I need to schedule everything else. But she said, no, you need to really make people feel appreciated, because you don't know how it feels to have someone running around the world focusing on one thing, and they might feel forgotten, and showing that appreciation is important.
Talking about Alicia Keys, you have written for the likes of Alicia Keys, Rihanna, Susan Boyle. I mean, these aren't similar genres we're talking about. How do you manage to write successful songs over very different genres?
I've always kind of disregarded genre. Like, if it's a good song, it's a good song. You can produce it any way you want, and that's the producer's job. I just feel when I write, it's always usually on the piano. So that's the true test of a song. If it can really cut through to somebody, that's the test. So I think, I never really think, okay, they're in that genre. I just think, well, what would they maybe want to say? And that's just how I go about it.
We love your music, and it's one thing for us to maybe listen to it on repeat, but what's it like for you to have to consistently go out there and sing? I know it has to be easy when it's songs that you love, yes, but it has to get to you sometimes going, okay, I'm singing this again. How do you make it fresh?
The audience makes it fresh, for me, and really before I do any show, I really kind of meditate on what it is I'm doing. You can kind of get into a routine where, we're doing another show, but you have to remember it's a very special thing that all these people have come in one room, and you're sharing a moment with strangers, and they'll leave, and you'll maybe never see anyone again, but that's rare, and it's very special. So reminding myself of that, reminding myself of what I'm going through, and how these songs may have changed meanings to me now. So reminding myself of that really just keeps it fresh for me.
You're breaking the US market. What's that been like, starting all over again?
Quite exciting, and really like having to look at yourself, really thinking, okay, well, who am I now? That's how I started, but now I'm in this whole new country. Do I understand the market? Do I understand the people? How are the people different from the UK? All these type of things and all these type of questions make you really scrutinize yourself and want to understand at a higher level.
What do you think of the whole music industry at the moment? Because, as I said before, I love that you are about the music. But and I'm not just talking females and males, groups, solo singers. It feels like it's become more about the theatrics than just about the music. And how do you not get pressured into doing that?
Well, I don't think I could. I don't think I'd be very good at the theatrics. But I don't know. There's always, you have to have that space for bravado. People want to see something that's extreme, and whether it's extremely musical or whether it's just entertainment, there's space for everybody. But I feel quite hopeful about the music industry at the moment, because people are really, they have so much more of a say now. The internet, record companies are becoming less and less significant in what's being put out. So, if it's good music, people will say it's good music and support it. So I'm quite excited. I think it's good times.
Talking about excited, you're playing Arthur's Day tonight.
Yes.
What do you love about Irish audiences?
Well, growing up in Scotland, it's a very similar feeling. There's a real warmth and a real appreciation from every time I've played here. I've just felt that the people share their stories, they share how the concert affected them, and it's just appreciation, and I love that.
Will we have you back here soon?
I really hope so. I mean, I always say that one of my favourite gigs was here in Dublin at the Sugar Club 2 years ago, and it was before the album was released, it was before anything, but the warmth, like I said, of the people and the stories after the show, and the whole night was magical. So I can't wait to come back after today.
We can't wait to have you back. Emily Sunday, it has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
My pleasure.